Welcome to Scholastic IQ, the game where knowledge rules. I'm your host, Ethan Neer, and we have our second semi-finals matchup in store for you today. Which one of these teams is going to move on to fight Callaway? Let's find out. On the bottom, we have Carbondale with Theodore, Daniel, Jay, and Clark. And up top, we have Metro East with Harry, Silas, Mary, and Josh. Now, before we get into our questions, let's just do a quick recap of our rules. We'll start off with some toss-up questions. Each of those is worth 10 points. If they get it right, they move on to the bonus question, which is worth 20 and can be stolen for 10. You guys are allowed to interrupt me at any time, but if you interrupt me and get a question wrong, it is 5 points for the other team. So just make sure you're right. All right, if we're all ready, all understand the rules, let's get into the questions. What man led troops to Williamsburg in the gunpowder incident in 1776, became governor of Virginia, and said, "Give me liberty," or Harry?
Patrick Henry.
Patrick Henry is correct. Well done. For your bonus, in 2022, what country led by an autocrat nicknamed Europe's last dictator allowed Russian forces to invade northern Ukraine from its territory?
Belarus.
Belarus is correct. Well done. The next question. What species preyed on the moose population on Isle Royale? Silas.
Killer whales.
Killer whales is incorrect. I'll read the rest of the question. On Isle Royale, altered ecosystems when reintroduced to Yellowstone and are closely related to dogs. Daniel.
Wolves.
Gray wolves is correct. Well done. For your bonus, Purdue Pharma developed what narcotic whose popularization in the 1990s helped spark the opioid epidemic?
Oxycontin.
Oxycontin is correct. Well done. Next on, so what character who repeats his own name in A Largo al Factor? Silas.
Figaro.
Figaro is correct. Well done. For your bonus, a rotary engine's power output equals its angular velocity times what quantity, which is the rotational analog force?
Is it torque?
Torque.
Torque is correct. Well done. Next on, so what novel in which a cat knocks over Xena's pickle dish? Silas.
Ethan Frome.
Ethan Frome is correct. Well done. For your bonus, the young reporter George Willard lives in what small Midwestern town, which titles a story collection by Sherwood Anderson?
Sure, it's not Spring River. Winesburg.
Winesburg, Ohio is correct. Well done. The next toss up. What man who may have murdered his second wife, Poppaea Sabina, succeeded Claudius as Roman emperor in AD 54 and supposedly fiddled Mary?
Nero.
Nero is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what Canadian city, which hosts the largest international jazz festival, is home to a biosphere designed for Expo 67?
Is it Montreal? Just try it.
Montreal.
Montreal is correct. Josh, very happy since we were talking about the Habs before we started. Well done. For your next toss-up, what African country whose leader Salva Kiir plans to move its capital to Ramsey from Juba became independent in 2011 from its northern Silas?
South Sudan.
South Sudan is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what Islamic philosopher and doctor who was called the commentator for his writings on Aristotle wrote The Incoherence of the Incoherence?
I don't know this.
I don't know. Just try Ibn Battuta.
Nothing.
Nothing. Carbondale chance to steal.
Okay. Say it.
Al-Ghazni. Al-Ghazni is correct. The answer we're looking for was Averroes. Averroes. Next toss-up. What American composer of A Short Symphony and the ballad Billy the Kid was inspired by a Henry Wallace speech to write fanfare for the common man? Silas.
Copeland.
Aaron Copeland's correct. Well done. For your bonus, what French sculptor who designed a fountain for the United States Botanic Garden worked with Gustave Eiffel on the Statue of Liberty?
This is B.
So these are all at a time. Carbondale.
Bertoldi.
Bartoldi is correct. Well done. The next toss-up. What author who included the dialogue of dogs in his exemplary novels wrote of a hidalgo from La Mancha who tilts at Silas?
Cervantes.
Miguel de Cervantes is correct. Hold on. For your bonus, the founder effect is a special case of what phenomenon that exacerbates population bottlenecks and involves random changes in allele frequencies?
Genetic drift.
Genetic drift is correct. Well done. Next question. What institution in which in 2022 returned the artwork Temple Strut with a Sababinka to Nepal hosts an annual gala? And Theodore.
Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Metropolitan is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what Puritan author depicted Christian's journey to the celestial city in the allegory The Pilgrim's Progress?
I think maybe Hawthorne.
Hawthorne is incorrect.
Bunyan.
Not to be confused with Paul, Bunyan is correct. Well done. For your next toss-up, what leader who chaired the UN committee that drafted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights also served from 1933 to 1945 as First Lady? Silas.
Eleanor Roosevelt.
Eleanor Roosevelt is correct. Well done. For your bonus, in 1898, what European country effectively deposed the Nguyen dynasty and assumed direct colonial control of Vietnam, which lasted until 1954?
France.
France is correct. Hold on. And that'll take us to our first media question. This artist is known for her influence on the Nashville sound and was awarded the Grammy Lifetime Achievement. She recorded this hit song in 1961. Name this artist. Theodore.
Aretha Franklin.
Aretha Franklin is incorrect.
Ella Fitzgerald.
Ella Fitzgerald is also incorrect. The answer we're looking for was Patsy Cline. Patsy Cline. I'll take us back to the toss-ups. What organelles, which in the 1950s were shown to consist mostly of a namesake RNA, have the task of translating Silas?
Ribosomes.
Ribosomes is correct. For your bonus, what lunar mare is where Ranger 8 crashed in 1965 and where the Eagle lander touched down during the Apollo 11 mission?
Sea of Tranquility.
Sea of Tranquility is correct. Well done. Okay, next toss-up. What novel whose protagonist calls himself Des de Shadow while fighting at a tournament attended by Lady Rowena was published? Mary.
Ivanhoe.
Ivanhoe is correct. Hold on. For your bonus, what country in the Pacific Ocean whose island of Taveuni lies on the 180th Mediterranean is governed from Suva?
Tuvalu.
Tuvalu is incorrect. Carbondale, chances you.
Fiji.
Fiji's correct. Hold on. For next question, what thinker called the father of conflict theory in sociology for his idea of a dialectical materialism analyzed Silas?
Hegel.
Hegel is incorrect. I'll read the rest of the question. Analyzed class relation in his Das Kapital. Theodore.
Marx.
Karl Marx is correct. Hold on. For your bonus, Catholic Mass was recited only in Latin prior to the reforms of what most recent Catholic Church Council, which was convoked in 1962?
It's not Trent. Sure. Trent.
Trent is incorrect. Metro East.
The Second Lateran.
Will we accept the Second Lateran? I don't believe so. The answer we're looking for was Vatican II, or Vatican II. So had the two right. For the next toss-up, what physicist gave h bar over 2 as the lower limit of the product of the standard deviations of position and momentum in his uncertainty? Clark.
Heisenberg.
Heisenberg is correct. Hold on. For your bonus, what name is shared by a cult once called Om Shinrikyo, a point that contains all others in a Jorge Luis Borges story and a Hebrew letter?
Sure. Babel.
Okay, say that again.
Babel.
Babel is incorrect.
Aleph.
Aleph is correct. For your next toss-up, what painting technique used to make Women at the Well by Paul Signac was also pioneered by Georges Seurat? Harry.
Pointillism.
Pointillism is correct. Well done. And for your bonus, pencil and paper ready. What is the cosine of a 270-degree angle?
0.
0 is correct. Well done. For the next toss-up, what term which refers to the period of exponential expansion over the universe is used in economics? Silas.
Inflation.
Inflation is correct. Well done. For your bonus, Plubius was the pen name used in what set of 85 anonymous essays written to support the ratification of the Constitution?
Federalist
The
Papers.
Federalist Papers is correct. The next question. What element whose most stable allotrope at standard conditions is a bright yellow solid was Silas?
Sulfur.
Sulfur is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what poet who wrote Letters from the Black Sea after being exiled by Augustus described Arachne's transformation into a spider in his Metamorphoses?
Ovid.
Ovid is correct. On to our next question. What structure contained a mural of Leonid Brezhnev kissing Erich Honecker was crossed at Checkpoint Charlie and Clark?
Berlin Wall.
The Berlin Wall is correct. Hold on. For your bonus, Cooperstown, New York is home to the Hall of Fame of what sport whose invention is erroneously credited to Abner Doubleday?
Hockey.
It's not hockey. Baseball.
Baseball.
Baseball is correct. Come on, Mets. Let's go, Mets. For the next toss-up, what southern state were Chris Jones and Sarah Huckabee Sanders our 2022 Governor Theodore?
Arkansas.
Arkansas is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what quantity of storage is equal to 1 million megabytes?
No, megabytes. Terabyte. I think it's a terabyte. No, it's bigger than terabyte. No, it's a terabyte.
These are all out of time.
Terabytes.
Say that again?
Terabytes.
Terabyte is correct. Well,
100 times 100.
the next toss-up, what novel in which Jim Conklin's death is observed by a, quote, tattered man and a young Henry Fleming is set during Silas?
The Red Badge of Courage.
Red Badge of Courage is correct. Hold on. For your bonus, what Shawnee chief formed a Native American alliance to oppose the U.S. but was killed by William Henry Harrison's army at the Battle of Thames?
Tecumseh.
Tecumseh is correct. Well, and that'll take us to our lightning round. The way our lightning round works is each team will have 60 seconds to answer as many questions as they can about a certain topic. Now, Carbondale, since you guys are trailing in this one, you have the first pick of the litter. Your choices are paintings and artists, occupations, members of the House, and Oh, Canada. I have no favorite out of those four. There is none that I like more than any of those.
I could do house, I think. Maybe not all of them.
Do you think we could do occupation?
Sure. Occupations.
Occupations it is. Give the word ending in the letters ER, but not maker, that describes a person who creates and or sells these items. I'll give you 60 seconds on the clock and count you down. 3, 2, 1. Structures made from wood.
Carpenter.
That's correct. Maps.
Cartographer.
That's correct. Contracts and other official notes.
No.
Lawyer.
No. Scrivener.
Scrivener is correct. Shorthand writings such as for a courtroom.
A stenographer.
That's correct. Horoscopes.
Astrologer.
That's correct. Cushions and covers for car seats.
Pass.
Knives and other eating utensils.
Cutler.
That's correct. Candy and other sweets.
Confectioner.
That's correct. Shoes, this term also refers to people who repair them.
Cobbler.
That's correct. Small items used for sewing and or men's clothing.
Taylor.
That's incorrect. Cushions for seats and cushions for covers and car seats.
Upholsterer.
Upholsterer is correct. Well done. So going a quick 9 out of 10 there. The only one you guys missed was small items used for sewing and or men's clothing was haberdasher.
Oh.
Haberdasher. All right, so 9 out of 10, picking up 90 points there. Well done, Carbondale. Metro East, it's now your turn. Your choices are paintings and artists, members of the House, and Oh, Canada.
Should we do paintings or Canada?
Canada.
Please, Canada. Come on, say Canada. Canada.
Yes! Let's go! Oh, Canada it is. Answer the following questions about Canada. I will give you 60 seconds on the clock and count you down. 3, 2, 1. Its capital.
Ottawa.
That's correct. Province whose only official language is French.
Quebec.
That's correct. Rodent that is one of Canada's national animals.
Pass.
Its federal police service.
The Mounties.
That's correct. Popular dish consisting of French fries covered with cheese
Poutine.
curds. That's correct. Its easternmost province.
British Columbia.
British Columbia.
That's incorrect. Canada's only Major League Baseball team.
The Blue Jays.
That's correct. Month when Canada Day is celebrated.
December.
That's incorrect. Province that produces most of Canada's oil.
Alberta.
That's correct. It's national summer sport, which predates ice hockey.
Field hockey.
That's incorrect. Rodent that is one of Canada's national
Beaver.
animals.
Beaver.
Beaver is correct. Well done there. Picking up 7 out of 10. I believe we'll go over the ones you missed. Its easternmost province you guys named its westernmost province.
Newfoundland
BC.
and Labrador, right?
Newfoundland, yeah, is its easternmost. And month when Canada Day is celebrated is the same as America. It's July the 1st. And its national sport, which predates hockey, created by Native Canadians, it's lacrosse. Lacrosse. All right, so let's take a quick look at our scores after the lightning round. Carbondale, you guys got 220 and 450 for Metro East. So a hill to climb, Carbondale, but still half of a game left over. We'll take us back to the toss-ups. What second son of King Atreus led the Spartan army in the Trojan War? Jay.
Agamemnon.
Agamemnon is incorrect. Led the Spartan army in the Trojan War alongside his brother Agamemnon after the kidnapping of his wife Helen. Silas.
Menelaus.
Menelaus is correct. For your bonus, what 4 words which were cried in a whisper to Charles Marlowe were the last words spoken by Mr. Kurtz in Joseph Conrad's novella Heart of Darkness?
The horror. The horror.
The horror is correct. For your bonus, what shape whose namesake coordinate system uses the coordinates z, phi, and r is made by revolving a rectangle about Silas?
Cylinder.
Cylinder is correct. For your bonus, the ophicleide was the precursor to what lowest pitch standard orchestral brass instrument?
Tuba.
The tuba is correct. Hold on. Your next toss-up. What kingdom which Owain Glyndwr led in a revolt is now a constituent UK country whose prince is heir apparent to the British throne? Harry.
Wales.
Wales is correct. Hold on. For your bonus, Rochelle, salts, and quartz both exhibit what property in which mechanical stress exerted on a solid induces a voltage?
Piezoelectricity.
Piezoelectricity is correct. Hold on. For the next question, what most populous city along the Arno River is the capital of Tuscany and is widely considered to be the birthplace of the Italian Renaissance? Harry.
Florence.
Florence is correct. Hold on. For your bonus, Corno Grande is the highest point in what mountain range that runs north-south along the Italian peninsula? So you guys are all out of time. Carbondale. Chance to steal.
The Carpaccio.
Carpaccio is incorrect. We were looking for the Apennine. The Apennine mountain range. For the next toss-up, what figure who is depicted as the, quote, the mystic in Gustav Holst's The Planets is the...
Neptune.
Neptune is correct. Hold on. For your bonus, what short story whose protagonist is married to a physician named John is by Charlotte Perkins Gilmans and depicts a young wife's madness?
The yellow wallpaper.
The yellow wallpaper is correct. Well done. For your next question, what activist from Alabama dissipated driver James F. Blake and sparked the 1955 Mont? Josh.
Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks is correct.
Oh.
For your bonus, which organ's red pulp contains the cords of Billroth and filters old red blood cells out of the bloodstream?
Spleen.
The spleen is correct. Hold on. The next toss-up. What town where Tom Keller is reinstated as sheriff by Mayor Hiram Lodge is the title home of Betty and Jughead in a CW show based on Archie Mary?
Riverdale.
Riverdale is correct. Well done. For your bonus, during his second stint as prime minister, which politician oversaw Britain's creation of a nuclear weapon and the coronation of Elizabeth II?
Churchill.
Winston Churchill is correct. Hold on. For the next toss-up, what objects, if they are non-rotating and uncharged, have a distance equal to the Schwarzschild radius between Silas?
Black holes.
Black holes is correct. For your bonus, in the 2022 film 13 Lives, Viggo Mortensen plays one of the divers who rescued a soccer team from a cave in what Southeast Asian country?
Thailand.
Thailand is correct. Hold on. Next toss-up. What surname is shared by Helmholtz in Brave New World and by a narrator who weds Mary Morstan after living at 221B Baker? Silas.
Holmes.
Holmes is incorrect. After living at 221 Baker Street with Sherlock Holmes. Dan.
Watson.
Watson is correct. Well, for your bonus, Baigul and Tregul are an unusually large pair of what animals who pull the chariots of the Norse god Freya?
Cats.
Cats is correct. Well done. For the next toss-up, which city, the target of the Doolittle raid, was fired?
Tokyo.
Tokyo is correct. Well done. For your bonus, a basic solution has a high concentration of what ion written as OH minus?
Hydroxide.
Hydroxide is correct. Well done. Next toss-up. What polyhedron is dual to the cube, has 12 edges and 6 sides?
Octahedron.
Octahedron is correct. For your bonus, Gustavo Arnal, who jumped to his death from a New York skyscraper, was the CFO of what struggling home goods retailer that became a meme stock in 2022?
Bed Bath & Beyond.
Bed Bath & Beyond is correct. Well done. The next toss-up. What sea, which includes both the Pribilof Islands and the Bristol Bay, is bordered to the south by the Aleutian Islands and is to Josh?
The Bering Strait.
The Bering Strait is incorrect, and is to the west of Alaska. Theodore.
Bering Sea.
The Bering Sea is correct. Well done. For your bonus, the golden age of what kingdom based in the Caucasus was led by Queen Tamar the Great, who ruled from 1184 to 1213?
Oh, wasn't the Caucasus in Georgia?
Sure. Okay.
Georgia?
Georgia is correct. Well done.
Yes.
Next also, what film set in Bedford Falls depicts a guardian angel named Clarence? Harry.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life is correct. For bonus, what author who depicted a possessed car in the novel Christine published a number of novels using the pen name Richard Bachman?
Nothing.
Carbondale. Chances you.
Stephen King take a thing to write it out. Stephen King.
Gil Powers.
Gil Powers is incorrect. It's perhaps the most famous horror author of all time, Stephen King. Stephen King. For the next toss-up, what novel whose protagonist saves Sohrab depicts the young Amir living in Taliban-ruled Afghanistan and was written by Khalid Hosseini? Daniel.
Kite Runner.
The Kite Runner is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what scale named for an Italian scientist assigns numbers from 1 to 12 to earthquakes depending on their observed effects?
Richter. Yeah. Richter.
Richter is incorrect. Metro East, chance to steal.
So it ends with I.
Medicelli.
Marcini.
Mercedes is incorrect. The answer we're looking for was the Mercalli intensity scale. Your next question. What substances whose namesake bonding can be modeled using a, quote, sea of delocalized electrons tend to, J?
Plasma.
Plasma is incorrect. Tend to be malleable and ductile and include iron. Josh.
Metal.
Metal is correct. For your bonus, pop singer Indie Yelich, who released her debut single in 2022, is the younger sister of what artist behind the album Solar Power?
Nothing.
Carbondale, chance to see you.
Olivia Rodrigo. Sure. Olivia Rodriguez.
Olivia Rodrigo is incorrect. The answer was Lord. Lord. Next question. What observance beginning on the first day of Tishrei, or on the first of Tishrei, is the start of the days of awe or high holy days and uses shofars to celebrate the Jewish New Year? Harry.
Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Feast of Unleavened Bread is incorrect. Theodore.
Rosh Hashanah.
Rosh Hashanah is correct. Well done. For your bonus, in 1990, what country's dictator Manuel Noriega was deposed by a U.S. invasion in Operation Just Cause?
Chile. Chile.
Chile is incorrect.
Panama.
Panama is correct. Well done, Josh. And that bell means we are all out of time, so we'll take a look at the score. And Metro East, a very dominant performance here, 770 to Carbondale's 320. So Metro East, you got yourself a spot in the final versus Callaway. Well done. So for all the people working very hard on our show today, I'm Ethan Neer, and I'll see you next week for the finals. Thank you so much, and good night.